All right, it's time to talk cricket now on the SportsMax Zone. 5 matches are done and dusted in the Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League, with St. Lucia Kings picking up the latest win in a high-scoring fixture at Warner Park against host St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots on Sunday. Evin Lewis and Kyle Mayers put on the highest partnership in CPL history, posting 199 for the second wicket, with Lewis getting an unbeaten 100 from 54 balls and Mayers blasting 92 of 62 deliveries as the Patriots put on a mammoth 201 for 3 of 20 overs. While player of the match, Kyle Mayers then returned with the ball alongside South African speedster Anric Nokia to give the Patriots a dream start, leaving the Kings in trouble at 24 for 4 inside the power play. However, a 103-run fifth-wicket partnership between Bhanuka Rajapaksa, 68, and Tim Seifert, 64, lifted the Kings to 202 for 5 to win by 5 wickets, with 16 deliveries to spare. Let's look now at the points table. All right, so Barbados Royals in first position, a total of 2 points, net run rate 2.36. Trinbago Knight Riders in second, same 2 points. St. Lucia Kings, also 2 points in third. Guyana Amazon Warriors and St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, fourth and fifth, respectively. The only team that's yet to get a win would be the Antigua and the Barbuda Falcons. Well, 5 of the 6 teams are on 2 points, with the Barbados Royals leading on net run rate. And as I said before, the Falcons are the only team without a point. Well, let's just get Nikhil Uttamchandani now on the discussion. Nikhil, enjoying the CPL, right? Some really thrilling matches on the weekend.
Oh, of course, Maria. I think the CPL, one of the best leagues in the world, and I think one of the most unique leagues in the world because of the party atmosphere, the vibe that it has, and I've been really impressed. Obviously, I did the one game in Antigua, but I've been here in St. Kitts for the majority of time, and I've been really impressed with the attention that the cricket has gotten here in St. Kitts.
Yeah, and another thing that has impressed me and continues to impress me, Joel Andrew, 48, he keeps improving as the CPL goes on. And one of the things we always talk about in the show when it comes to cricket is that lack of consistency, but Joel has been consistent so far.
Yeah, definitely, Maria. I think what was impressive about that innings was the fact that obviously they were losing wickets, and there was an interesting time in the game where I think him and Shamar Springer were at the crease, and they still had a lot of overs left. And it was sort of finding the balance between we need to get a competitive total here, but we also need to be aggressive. And he got out trying to take on Obed McCoy, but I thought just the way that he's sort of building his innings and constructing his innings at the crease, focusing on certain areas of scoring, using the wind factor as well. Again, the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium is a ground he knows quite well, but I thought against the type of bowling that the Royals possessed, you saw how much it plagued some of the more experienced batters. For him to get 48 there, it was great to see that he can continue and build on what he achieved on opening night.
Yeah, and I have to admit, Nikhil, the fact that, many of the individual performances that we have been talking about on the show and just generally have come from the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons. So it's a bit sad that they have not picked up a win just yet.
It's a cruel game because obviously you've got a situation where you have 2 last ball thrillers and you come out on the losing end of both of those. And then I thought, again, in the day games in the Caribbean, the toss kind of plays a big part. Because of the morning, you have a lot of moisture in the surface. There was rain around in Antigua, so it was always going to be tough for them to get sort of off to a flyer. And it doesn't help when you drop Quinton de Kock in the power play. And unfortunately, he went on to get 87. But I definitely think there's something there. And they have to realize that in the past, there have been teams who have lost their first 4 and 5 games and have come back to win the tournament. Obviously, it's not the best way to do things because it keeps you under pressure. It has you sort of needing to win every single game. But, I mean, it's still possible, and there's definitely something there. I think Chris Green and his leadership has been quite good, and they've gotten the individual performances. It's now about finding a situation where they can probably get a bit more out of their bowling. I think Mohamed Amir has been so special in the power play for the Taloas in previous seasons. He hasn't found that this year, and I think they've struggled a bit because of it. Imad Wasim doesn't seem to be at his best either. But they definitely have a lot of potential there, and you look at the names on paper. The only issue is that they're playing some very good teams who also are quite stacked. And you saw with that Guyana side the other night, even when you thought the Falcons would go on to win, the quality of the Amazon Warriors sort of shone through, and they're the defending champions. So it's not going to be an easy journey to turn this around. I'll put the Patriots in a similar bracket.
Yeah, for sure, because yesterday I was watching the match, of course, getting ready as well, for my week ahead. So I remember watching Evin Lewis make the century, looking at Kyle Mayers and thinking, all right, so this seems like it's in the bag for them. And of course, I know better when it comes to the CPL and cricket. Went inside and then came back out and realized that, of course, the St. Lucia Kings had won it. And to me, I could not even process how that had happened.
I think massive credit, Mariah, must go to the Kings. Before I get to the Patriots, I think the Kings, to be in a situation of 24 for 4 and be able to chase 201 in the manner in which they did, I almost feel like they started out when Cypher and Rajapaksa came, they were brand new at the crease. It almost felt to me that they said, you know what, it's very hard to win the game from this position. Let's go out and be fearless and see how much we can get. And then they realized, hold on a minute, there's bowlers here we can target. We're well ahead of the rate. We're getting 14, 15 runs and over. We can actually win this game. And in the end, I think they cruised to it. So the way that they were able to battle back after losing Faf, losing Johnson Charles, who have scored the majority of their runs in the past season, I was really impressed with Tim Seifert, who has been to the CPL and has struggled previously playing for TKR, but he looks a different player. And then Rajapaksa is very good against spin. And I think the wet ball also didn't help the Patriots. But honestly, 201 on the board and then 24 for 4. The Patriots should have won this game. I think it was their game to lose. And I look back at some of the moments, maybe getting Norkia into the attack a bit earlier, maybe not bowling as much spin as Fletcher did because of the wet ball and because of how easy it was with that smaller boundary. All those things, I think, they'll reflect on. But the problem is, they find themselves now in an interesting position with games against Guyana and Barbados, 2 unbeaten teams coming up.
Yeah, Nikhil, last time we chatted on this show, we spoke about player of the match coming from the losing team. And we didn't have to wait long to see that. Your thoughts on that? Because in some sense, it's been a bit contentious.
To be honest, lads, I like it. And I understand the thinking. I wasn't the adjudicator. It was Danny Morrison last night. And lads, I understand. I think if it was me, I would have still gone the same way. And I say that because, and don't get me wrong, you could easily have given it to Seifert, you could have given it to Rajapaksa, but when I look at this performance here, the 92 from Mayers, then the ability to get 2 wickets and 2 very important wickets, but it doesn't stop there. He then goes on to catch Faf du Plessis, who I think is the most important Kings batter, and then takes another catch later on. He's been brilliant, and I think we have to now segue, and obviously cricket, you want to have reward winning, and you want to reward those that put you in a winning position, but when you have a night like this where this guy was the most important player in what he did for his team. And without him, they wouldn't even been close. So I think for that and all the all-round brilliance he had, he deserved the award, in my opinion.
Yeah, I must admit to you, Nikhil, that I am struggling a little bit to agree with you on this one, because I think in a match where, yes, you have performed well, but your team loses the encounter by comfortably with 16 deliveries to spare, a T20 encounter, I would be looking at the individual who changed the game for the winning team in this specific encounter. And maybe for me, Tim Seifert is the one I would have gone with, because I felt his knock was so special. And at the rate that it came as well, that made the victory so comfortable. But I guess I understand from your standpoint as well why you would have gone Mayers, because he did score 92 runs, he did take a couple of wickets, and he did take some catches. So based on the pure numbers, I can understand it. But in truth, I think based on impact, I probably would have gone Seifert. There is also a question, and maybe I'm stretching this a little bit, and there's always hindsight, right? And this is a very difficult point to make when someone gets 92 from 60-odd deliveries. But I also wonder, and I wondered this from before the Kings started their reply, if Kyle Mayers went a little bit too slowly. Now, when I saw 201, 20 overs, given the number of wickets they lost, I felt in my mind from the outset that they were 20 to 25 runs short. I don't know how you feel about it.
I toyed with this, Ricardo, because I think, and look, it's harsh because the rain, I think, hampered them with momentum, with the way that the two of them were going with 7 balls to left to go in the innings before the rain came. I thought they would get to 220. And you saw the difficulty in when they came back out. They only scored 3 runs from 7 balls. And, I mean, you could make an argument that both of them could have potentially gone up a gear. It's hard to say that when guys are striking at 180 and 200. But that's the thing about Warner Park. You don't know what is a good score. You don't know what is safe. And the Patriots, with their bowling struggles, they've got to give themselves a bit more buffer. But I don't know if I can say that Mears was too slow. What I would say is that they would reflect on Noor Ahmad's 4 overs, because they still went at 11 runs and over in the middle, but 4 of those overs went for 20 runs, and that's from the wrist spinner. So it's not like they were trying to take him on. They decided that it would be better suited for them to just see him out and try to target the others. But again, Ricardo, I mean, even if they got to 210, 215, I still think they would have lost the game. So they have to look at their bowling. It's not, for me, a batting problem.
All right, fair enough. Evin Lewis, he's 32 years old now. He last played international cricket in 2022. I think that was a T20 international encounter. What's the word on the ground as to his desire to play international cricket again?
I think he's always had the desire. You saw the passion in the celebration last night, Ricardo. I think he's been under severe pressure, and rightfully so. He hasn't had a CPL 50 in 17 innings ever since 2021 when they won the tournament. So you understand why people have sort of wondered where Evin Lewis has disappeared to. But this innings last night, I mean, it was amazing to see some of the stroke play, the way that he was able to maneuver the field. They set certain plans to him, and to be honest, I thought at times they bowled quite well to him, but he was just so good. And when he's on, it reminds me almost like of a Pooran, where when the guy starts going, when he was 70 or 80, I almost felt he definitely was going to get 100, because it's just been the historic Evin Lewis where once he gets started, there's no stopping him. So it was great to see this come back. And again, we have to remember, he hasn't really played any professional cricket, or actually any cricket, since February in the BPL. So in just his second innings since February, third innings, for him to come back and do this and score 100 of this magnitude, I thought it was fantastic to see. And it just, I think, reiterates the ability he has. And if he has another big Caribbean Premier League, let's say they turn their fortunes around, he'll be knocking on the door, because Sammy has made it quite clear he wants a left-right combination, and we know this man is proven on the biggest stage. So he's just 32. There definitely is an opportunity for him to get back into the West Indies side.
Yeah, I love the way you say just at 32, but yes, he is an outstanding player at his best. 4 centuries at the ODI level, 2 at the T20 international level, and yeah, fine knock last night. You spoke about Pooran just then, getting to the record for the most sixes in a calendar year, 139 now, getting ahead of Chris Gale, who scored 135. Just how impressive is this record for Nicholas Pooran?
Ricardo, he's amazing, man. I spoke to some of the Patriots bowlers yesterday, and they had no words for that innings. I thought they probably started the wrong way to him, where they tried to force him to hit with the wind. And unfortunately, right here, these couple of sixes here, the first 2 sixes, I think this is what got him going, because he was 16 off 5. And once he gets going like this, just forget it. But what I will say about Pooran, yes, the Sixes award is great. What I love about his development in 2024, and he's got the most runs and he's got all these records, but he's winning more games for his team. And you even look in chases. I know he batted first here, but in chases this year, in the CPL, in normal T20 cricket, he's making it more of a mission to win games for his team. And he said it in a couple of interviews where his priority has transitioned from scoring the most runs to now doing the most for his team to get them into winning situations. And you can see that he really is so intelligent when he's at the crease in terms of where he's scoring his runs, who he's scoring them against, and making sure that he's getting a big one. The Pooran of old will get 40 off 12 and then would be out. And the team still has to do a lot. But you see with that 97, he made sure he got them to 250, which obviously would prove to be too much. So that consistency in which he's doing what he's doing, but also the importance he has on his wicket and the games he's winning, all of those things I think make him, a combination of one of the best errors we've seen. And I think when it's all said and done, this run for Nicholas Pooran, if he can continue, it's going to be an all-time great run in the T20 format and in cricket on a whole.
Yeah, really happy to hear you use the word intelligent when it comes on to Nicholas Pooran, because it's one of the issues I have personally had with him, is that I feel that he gets out too often at inopportune times. And it's great to hear that at least you think that he is improving in that arena, because it can only serve the West Indies well. And yes, it was a fabulous knock, 97 from 43 delivery. Sticking with the TKR, but let's talk about Dwayne Bravo. He says this is going to be his final CPL campaign. He's 40 years old now. What a terrific career he's had. He's played all the CPLs, and this is going to be it. Are we going to be having a Bravo party right across the Caribbean, or Bravo parties right across the Caribbean to close it out?
I'll tell you what, Ricardo, it was a real statement for that team who want to give him that win, the tournament wins to send him off. It's a statement for them to score 250, and Pollard bats 3 balls. Russell doesn't play. Akil Hossein doesn't play. It was a serious performance. But I think with Bravo, and I stood back and I watched him in that first game. And yes, he's got all the skill and variation with the ball. But what I think TKR and the West Indies and every person involved in cricket will miss the most about DJ Bravo in the Caribbean, I watched him stand at mid-off with Nathan Edward, and every single ball, he was mentoring him, he was talking to him, he was telling him, you know, trying to slow the game down. And this is the value he has with all of his years of experience as a coach. But I just think what he has done for the next generation of bowlers, I was thinking about it last night, Dominic Drake, when he had his best season in 2021, who was standing at mid-off? It was Dwayne Bravo. So he has a track record of being able to get the best out of guys, especially our faster bowlers. And I think guys like Nathan Edward and Seals and all of our young seamers across the region, it would be such a privilege for them to have the opportunity to work with a guy like this. So I think that's what we will miss the most. But in terms of his on-the-field positioning and on-the-field cricketing ability, it's without a doubt one of the greatest ever, if not the greatest T20 bowler ever.
Yeah, and might be a strange question to ask because he is 40 years old. Is the time right? Is this the perfect time?
To be honest, talking to him and looking at him, I think he could probably go some more. But I understand, you know, he has had his difficulties with injury. And the one thing I noticed about him as well, he's not able to sort of take his foot off the gas. There was a catch he dived for a slip a couple of nights ago, and you could see how difficult it was for him to get down there. But when he actually reacted, it wasn't the 40-year-old Dwayne Bravo. It was the 28-year-old Dwayne Bravo. So from a body perspective, I can understand. But in terms of mind and the skill that he has taking pace off the ball and his wily variations, I think he could definitely go a bit longer. But I fully understand the move, and I hope we as a West Indian cricket setup can get him back in to help build the next generation.
And quickly, Karan Pollard is 37 years old. Can he get to 40?
Oh, definitely. I think he's still, you look around the world in the T20 leagues he's playing, he's still dominating them with his six-hitting ability. So his leadership, I think, definitely once he manages his body, like he says he does, and I know he does, I think he'll definitely be able to play a number of few seasons to come.
All right, Nikhil, you have your pulse on all things cricket. I saw an IG post with Christopher Henry Gale this morning. I'm not sure how correct it was, but he was training and looking very, very fit. Is there anything coming up for? Is there anything coming up for the Universe boss?
Listen, Lance, we asked Chris Gill if he misses the CPL, and he says the CPL misses him. So I don't know if he's looking to make a return. There is a lot of Legends cricket going around now in the world, so I know a lot of Legends are trying to get their body right, but I don't think we would see him return to the CPL. But I mean, if he did, who knows? The guy is so skilled that I'm sure we can see a few sixes.
All right, Nikhil, we'll talk again soon, I'm sure. The CPL, of course, on a break today. And you don't have to wait too long for the restart. We'll be back with more on the SportsMax Zone after this.
Every preach, every part, every deal, every wicked, every soul. And the art and soul and passion, and the culture, Caribbean glows.